Hello and welcome back to day 2 of our 7 days of rest challenge. For those who are new here, I am Phoebe Hart. I am a yoga teacher and somatic practitioner, and I own and found an online membership called the Rest Space, a space for you to come and deepen your practice of rest and tend to the parts of self that need a little bit of extra love and care. So day 2, we are going to be looking at sensory rest today, and today's practice is going to be a guided somatic meditation to support you in engaging with the different senses that the body has and dropping into the present moment, the here and now. This is my favorite practice to come to throughout my day. I spend around 10 to 15 minutes whenever I need a slight break from looking at my screen, because that's where I find my overstimulation of my senses happens within my day most of the time. And this is the one that I come to throughout the day when I need that mini break and to drop into being present within my body with my sensory experience. So let's begin. Today, just find yourself the most comfortable seated position. I suggest, if you find sitting on the floor cross-legged a little bit of a challenge, that you actually sit on a chair with a back support behind you. This can often really offer you this extra sense of support as you move into practice and allow you to drop a little bit deeper into the present. So once you've found your comfortable seat, we'll begin. And we're going to start with our eyes open today. And we're going to first start by scanning the space that we're in, using our sense of sight. And as you start doing this, first see if you can bring in a real slow, subtle and intentional breath in through your nose, filling up your belly. And we can gently sigh that out the mouth. Continuing to scan the space that you're in, and then we're going to pick one item within our space to just rest and pause our eyes on for a moment. Again, staying tuned into that gentle breath into the belly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you observe this first item in your space, seeing its shape and its size, seeing if you can take in as much detail of this object as you can. Naming what color it is, noticing perhaps any stories or images that accompany this item as you use your sense of sight to view it. Beautiful. Dropping that, continuing to scan your space again. Now we're going to find a second item to pause our eyes on. So taking your time to choose that item, and as you land on it, I first want you to just notice what about this item drew your eyes to pause. Again, naming as much description about what you can see through your eyes, perhaps how the light is falling on this object, what shape, color, size it is. Noticing if any story or even subtle sensation of emotion is present as you view this item. Simply just naming. Taking a gentle breath in through the nose, and as you exhale out the mouth, taking those eyes on another scan around your space, picking a third item to pause on. Again, noticing its shape, size, color, how the light is falling. Noticing what drew you to choose this object to pause on. Taking in as much as you can through your eyes. And with your next exhale, we'll continue that scan around the space. We're going to pick 2 more things to pause our eyes on. So taking your time to really scan, perhaps to the sides, even up high and behind you. Picking another area of your space to pause on, noticing how much of this you can take in through your sight. Naming each tiny description that you can give to what you're seeing. And one final time, picking one final item within your space to see, to use this sense of sight. Noticing your breath as you land into this final item. Noticing sensation that is present here as you've been using this external gaze. And really slowly together, we're going to move from using this sense of sight now externally. And we're going to slowly begin to close our eyes down and just notice that subtle shift in sensation that happens as we move from external gaze to internal gaze. And as soon as we've landed with eyes closed, I want you to take your attention to the full landscape of sound, the soundscape of the space that you're in. Together we're going to pick 4 sounds. So picking your first sound that you can hear within your space, perhaps something far away from you. We're going to take our full attention there for a moment. Noticing for yourself and naming what this sound is. Perhaps it's pitch or tempo. What image you see in your mind's eye as you take in this vibration through your ears. And then picking your second sound now. Again, pausing with that sound, naming it, describing it. Picking a third sound here, perhaps something closer in towards you now. Seeing how intently you can stay with just this one sound with your full attention. And then shifting to one final sound. Noticing again what this sound evokes within you as you name and describe the sound. Perhaps tuning into any subtlety and sensation or emotion that this sound evokes within you. Taking a gentle breath here all together in through the nose. Sigh and release out the mouth as you let go of listening through the ears. And we're going to begin to now shift into the sense of touch and feeling. So we're going to first begin by bringing our attention fully to our hands, noticing where they are resting within our space, perhaps on our body, perhaps together. And we're going to tune into the sensation of what we can feel beneath our fingertips and the palms of our hand. Noticing the temperature of the skin, perhaps the texture of the fabric beneath them. And naming the part that the hands are in connection with. Shifting your attention now to where your body meets your space. So perhaps for some of you, it's with that back body against something. So sensing into that back body. Or if you're like me, sensing into the sit bones and the legs, the part of the body that is connected into your seat. Seeing again how much you can tune into the sensation of your body being held by this chair or this ground. And over your next couple of breaths, seeing if you can allow the body to soften and be held just that tiny bit more. Feeling the support of the ground or the support of the back body here for you to lean into. And lastly, we're going to shift our attention to one subtle sensation that you are experiencing internally within your body, noticing the first thing that jumps out at you. And like everything else, we're just going to name this sensation that we can feel, not diving too deep into the sensation, but just staying subtly around the edges, perhaps noting its shape, its size, what part of the body it is in. And again, we'll take a gentle breath in through the nose here as we fill up with breath into that sensation. And with a sigh and exhale, release and let go of the attention into that sensing and feeling. Maybe you want to take a little bit of movement in the body here just to shift your awareness around before we come to our sense of smell. Now, if you're like me, perhaps the sense of smell is quite hard to connect into, is often one which isn't as used or tuned into throughout our day. So I invite you, we're going to pick 2 things that we can smell within our space. And if you are struggling to initially smell anything, like myself, I'm going to invite you to either place your hands in front of your nose, or if you have any kind of essential oil or product in your hair, bringing something up to the nose that you can smell and just noticing as you stay fully with this sensation of taking in, breathing in and tuning into naming what it is that you can smell through your nose. And then picking yourself that second smell. I'm going to try a little hard here to tune into my space. For me, I'm noticing a really light and subtle smell of the wood that is all around me in this room. And sometimes, maybe even for yourself, it's first taking your mind to something within your space that you know has a scent, and slowly inviting that scent into your awareness. Beautiful. We're going to go one last time. We're going to take now our awareness to one thing that you can taste. Seeing if you can tune into the taste that is within your mouth right now. Again, like everything else, naming it, seeing if you can really be with that sense of taste. And then together here, we're going to take a nice gentle inhale through our nose. Sigh and exhale out the mouth. Releasing, letting go of all of which we have just journeyed through. And again, starting to bring in some really gentle movement into the body as you start to invite all of those senses now to come together. Seeing if you can feel, touch, hear, smell, taste your space as you move gently, waking up the body again. And lastly, we'll bring back our external gaze and invite back in our sight, the one sense that we use for the majority of our day. And just notice your space through your eyes again now that we've moved through the awareness of our other senses. See what sensations or subtle shifts of presence and awareness you have now through your sight, with all of the other senses tuned into and engaged. Notice for yourself here perhaps which sense was needing a little rest there. Perhaps you're someone who is very light sensitive like myself, and it was a beautiful rest to have the eyes closed for a moment and to listen to the space and feel the touch of my body. Or perhaps you're sound sensitive and coming into some pause and stillness, even investigating this again for yourself with some noise cancelling headphones. How you can offer yourself that rest through the ears. And the beautiful exploration I'd love to leave you guys with to end this day of rest together is to take this practice of tuning into your senses into your day with you tomorrow, today, whatever time you're watching this, and to just spend 5 minutes throughout your day, as much as you need, to drop down the eyes, because more than likely you've been using that sense for the majority of your day, and to begin to tune into your other senses. Maybe as you eat a meal, you can really slow yourself down and really take in the taste. Or perhaps as you're applying some essential oil or perfume, you can pause and really use that sense of smell. I invite you to take this with you into your days and to return to this practice at any time that you need. And I really look forward to diving into another day of rest with you all tomorrow. So until then, I send you love. Thank you for joining me again for another day of rest. I invite you to go and give me a follow on Instagram at The Rest Space or at With Phoebe Hart to stay up to date with all news. If you are interested in joining the online membership, The Rest Space, then you can go to www.phoebehart.com/The Rest Space, of where you can find all information about what's to come and get yourself signed up to join us in our monthly membership of rest.